I'm Colin Walls, and I'm here, as usual, to talk about embedded software. Today I'm musing about programming languages and C++ in particular. I quite like programming languages. I've worked with them all my life, and I like the precision of a programming language. You know exactly what it's going to do, and I like the way that standardization has made that a very predictable process. Now, standardization means different things, but most of the programming languages do have an international standard that applies to them. However, there are still problems. The problems can come about through lack of understanding of those standards, as well as small inconsistencies and aspects which are open to interpretation, shall we say, in those standards. This is why there are implementation guidelines like MISRA for using C in safety critical situations, because that enables you to avoid parts of the language which can be problematic. Now, C++ is a much stricter language than C in many respects, but it's still not quite perfect. It's still quite possible to write very obscure code. Now, in C++, we have the concept of a class. Now, a class is a bit like a structure, but it basically amounts to a new data type. Now, one of the very clever things about a class is that apart from holding code and data, it has built-in initialization and shutdown facilities. You can include two functions inside the C++ class called the constructor and the destructor. And these are automatically executed when an object comes into scope and goes out of scope, respectively. That's quite straightforward. We simply write some code which includes some functions like that. Now, one would expect these functions to be void, because there is no opportunity for them to return any data at all. However, if you look at this code here, you'll notice that I haven't given them any return type at all, not even void. In fact, with some compilers, if I put void in there, I will get an error message. That didn't make any sense to me at all when I first learned the language. And ultimately, it still doesn't make any sense to me, because those functions are intrinsically void functions because they can't return anything, but you're not allowed to say so. Why was that? Well, for some years I wondered why that was the situation. I couldn't really understand it. And actually, I think some modern compilers do address the issue by allowing you to put void in there, even if the language standard didn't include that. But why was that situation there? Well, a few years back, I had a bit of luck. We were hosting a C++ for Embedded Systems seminar, and we had a very special speaker come along. And that speaker was Bjarne Stroustrup, the man who invented C++. I then had a unique opportunity, and that opportunity was to spend a bit of time with the great man. I did two things. One was I had him sign the copies of his book, which I had several editions of. I'm a bit of a geek like that. The other thing was to ask him a couple of questions that nobody else had been able to answer, amongst which was, why do constructors and destructors not have a return data type of void? He said, yeah, they should do really. We made a mistake when we first defined the language, and we can't really go back and fix it now. End of story. So even Bjarne Stroustrup is not completely perfect, as you might expect somebody who created a programming language to be. I felt a whole lot better after that. And I now understand about constructors and destructors. And I hope you found that a useful guideline and a lesson in life. That's it for today. I look forward to seeing you next time, when I'll be back to talk about some other aspect of embedded software. Bye for now.